big moving sale right now. Now is a chance for anyone in the USA to get some logo Korean Transformer toys that I've reviewed. Everything must go by December 31st, so don't delay. Check out the offerings on Mercari and Twitterix.
Hello, it's KRBrickBot, and this is my 6th anniversary and special review. As the Tobot show goes along for the whole year in 3 split parts, we had a good reintroduction of our beloved Tobots. And then part 2 introduced all new Tobots, like the Rescue Tobot Trio and the Combiner, which they're pretty interesting characters and a different way Tobots work, but the toys went more gimmick. And of course with part 3, we get the Tobot toy we really wanted, the update of the traditional combined form of the 3 into Tritan. Thus I have a giant box here, so this is another G-Market order that I placed on the first day of the pre-orders that opened up on the 23rd. And why did I do that when I'm trying to get rid of all these stuff before I go back to Korea? Because they had a special pre-order gift bonus. A little set of exclusive collectible pieces like some standing key rings and some actual signature autograph cards and some character cards of the actual voice actors and the director. I mean, those sound like really nice exclusive collectible things for the fans. Really just shows how much of a community the Korean Tobot fanbase is. And sure, maybe a free retail toy might be more tangibly more appealing, but these exclusive things, I think they really have more value for the first 100 orders from each seller. Okay, now for the big reveal. Here is the side of the Tritan box with a Tri-Delta symbol. There it is. Behold the new updated Tritan. No, I didn't get the exclusive gift. Okay, so let's just look at the main toy that the rest of the Tobot fans are more interested in. Yeah, it's a pretty big style of this year's packaging box. The windows the window glue's kinda peeling off, and this looks a little dusty in the box. Yeah, otherwise this is the nice splayed out position of the new Tritan Combiner. And you can see the 3 cars recolored. Well, it's that same style of word mark, like with the English Tobot and then the Korean Tritan in a nice shiny gold. 3 combination. Yeah, 3 combination transformation. And then off to the side here, we have the renders of the 3 Tobots and their combiner colors. Tobot X and Hana, Tobot Y and Turi, and Tobot Z and Semu and Hansu. Hana's Ioniq 5 and his Avante and their Staria transforms into the upper half, the arms, and the lower half. It's a pretty simple blue background with a nice 3-dimensional Delta Tritan there, and some Thunder and Lightning Tritan. There's the robot mode, and then those 3 renders again to show which part goes where. And this is a nice pose, like the nice pose of the 4 as they get ready to do the combination. And then a little disclaimer here, I guess, the illustrations vary from the actual toy. The model number is NTBT, which stands for New Tobot Tritan. It's been cooking since September. And of course, the display stand, pre-assembled box display stand. Copyright Young Toys Retrobot CI, Young Toys Time Sunday. Oh, they have a QR code inside of the flap. This is a QR code for, like, doing a survey and then getting a little prize. If you want to take a scan at that, actually. The Tobot Trio are back in their Tritan colors, which we've not seen since, like, 11 years ago. Which, when I saw for the very first time, thought was an animation error because I've never heard of the idea that robots can change colors when they combine. Of course, they're not the same shade as the original counterparts. It's not a deep, rich blue for Axe Ioniq 5 in this case. This is more of a sand blue. A nice darkish, lightish color of blue. And it does look like the lucid blue color of the Rio Ioniq 5. Nicely painted as usual, and including black metal pins. Very nice taillights here with the raised and printed Hyundai logo with the front here and the 4 lights here, though I think they're kind of sloping upwards, the ones on the outer edge. Nice license plate and a silver lining here. And we got the Avante or Elantra in a bright red. Yeah, much like the original Y, and also a pretty color common scheme for the common Avante. And you can see these headlights are just much more filled out than this double divided one that this big one has for some reason. Still has a license plate and black lower headlights. Still squishy as ever. And those, I believe they do look like those are painted rear tail lights, even though that's red on red, which would be really hard to see. Yeah, but it's nice that you can see some sort of distinction if you take a hard look at it. And that's kind of clever that this sunroof here is actually a integrated combiner part. And Tobot Z, the Staria, is in a very rich orange, which is a significantly different shade from the lightish flame yellowish orange of the original Tritan Z or Tobot X. This is just much more darker. Yeah, it is the squish Staria with the smaller front wheels and more vertical hinges and clips, which kind of look unsightly just because it's a combiner part. Yeah, it's still a pretty nice lightness. Interesting seam lines for the combiner separation. Yeah, it still has the nice details here like the antenna and a bit smoother. Oh, and this version actually gets painted tail lights. That's pretty neat. That's not on the big one. And this is like intricately painted back windows, even if you see all the seam lines. These Tritan cars still carry the tradition of the combiner cars being smaller than the mainline individual cars. Yeah, just comparing the size. I measured this is about 1/28th scale compared to the 1/24th scale of these big cars. But I guess it's not a one-to-one correlation because Z is looking significantly bigger than these two when you compare these two. I mean, they're very similar size. I think this is like 2 scales bigger. Like more of a 1/26. I mean, which is odd because, you know, that's kind of a size discrepancy. I mean, I guess if you don't know cars, this may look okay to have a pretty big van. Or is this a smaller van? Yeah, but I guess it's done so that, you know, it accommodates the combination size. Integration. Split open these angled and soft ratcheted double hinges. Kinda look like car seats. Yeah, then just straighten out those legs. Then slide them out. And then the lower rear here just flips out 180 feet. And that's Z as new legs. For X, yeah, just unhinge this. And then this just basically double folds over on this pretty long beam. Like, this is like a whole 270 beam as this folds over and extends into the torso. Yeah, kind of angle this and then turn this around. Collapse these panels in. Slide it until it clicks. Separation should be simple enough, but I guess the kid's fingers will be small enough to get those little side panels of the Axe Ioniq in there. But it's still pretty good. Reachable enough for bigger fingers. You split Y in half and extend his arm beams. They're connected together. And then you probably have to remember which way the shoulder block goes. Just remember it's upward like this for the articulation. Down, down, hinge around, and don't forget to flip out the little fist. And that just slides right in, and then this entire girder piece just folds over, but not before you slide out the head. Then rotate that around. Then click that down and then flip out the antenna. So we're finally revisiting Tritan after several combiner forms, and then they just went back to this for a new upgrade for the new iteration of the classic Tobots. It's certainly a certain build and style to it compared to the last one. I mean, for one, this looks much more evenly proportioned. It has a good, substantially toned arms and legs, compared to the original Tritan with a pretty swole and extended upper torso, but a pretty skinny limbs. The Tritan cars are the same colors as their old form, but you can see that they actually changed up the parts they turn into. Like, the orange Z is now the legs instead of the torso, and then the smaller blue axe is the torso instead of the arms. And of course, always the signature upside down car for the torso combiner that every classic Tobot combiner has followed thus far. And red Y that were the legs are now the arms. Funnily enough, if you insisted on recoloring the cars so that they match the color layout of the original Tritan, then the component cars would be in their original colors. Funny to think about how that worked out. This notwithstanding. The sand blue is nicely distributed throughout the whole thing with the hidden internal sand blue parts of the arms and legs. Not so much in the red, except for the unpaintable red ratchets. And a little bit of a deliberate red here. And then the orange is mostly in Z and this little girder piece. But I'm not sure if the color change-up is the most optimal layout because blue is not as dominant as orange, so your eyes may be first drawn toward the groin platicus. Yeah, in a dark room, where do your eyes go to? Yeah, they're probably not going to be drawn toward this orange at the top, which is at the top and not quite the front here, so I don't know if that's... It probably doesn't ruin it that much, but it's just kind of funny to think about. This new Tritan's got strong, sturdy, solid support with Staria van heels instead of the old Tritan's boat curved the top of the roof of a sports car. The mechanical sculpting is pretty good. It's also pretty simple in spots, like how would these hydraulic pistons work in this way exactly? But there is some panel lighting here and a bit of a clever, if not obvious, XYZ just molded right across both of the legs here. Yeah, the arms also have some nice faux hydraulics and panel lighting, and the torso has this black block here, I guess, for lighting, and there is also an XYZ as with the Tobot symbol on this side and also this side, except there is no Tobot symbol here because there's a screw hole. Nice venting on the side here. That tapers off into the pretty smooth upper torso. And unlike the Kia logo, you can read the Hyundai logo upside down, so it doesn't look upside down. Except for X. Some arm details that are easy to overlook are these little black things. I guess they're little jets to give them an extra superpowered punch. And the elbows have a Tobot symbol in them. And there's even a Tobot in new font style etched right in there, although that's really hard to see with a wheel in the way. I'm nitpicking the shoulders don't look that good because you have much of the black void in the inners of the car just showing out, and the shoulders just are not prominent, they're just kind of lost to the red around it. Maybe I would have liked it if the rear of the car was facing forward with the unsplit Hyundai logo as mandated. But then you would have to contend with the arm position unless you kind of did it this way with the wheel in there. Or if the wheels were more facing forward like the original Tritan, but I guess this is kind of a fan mode you could do. Yeah, that does fill it out a bit more. Not sure about the outward articulation in this configuration, but it's pretty good. There's even Tobot symbols right on the inside of the back of the arms here. Are you sure we're not going overboard with the Tobot motif? And the style of transformation where the entire car grille covers the front of the fist may not be the most appealing type of transformation, but at least the fist fold out a bit so you can see the fist from the front at least. The back cleans up pretty nicely, although these little kibble winglets don't exactly compare to the big, long, and powerful jump jets the original Tritan had. Yeah, but they are nicely paneled inside here, like little paneling here, and okay, we get it, this is XYZ combined in a Tritan. I think this is the end of the excessiveness of the XYZ and Tobots throughout. I don't know, if you want, you could just turn this around just to emulate the classic butt kibble style of Tobot. And finally, the new Tritan head, which is a familiar design, like with the T-shaped visor. And the golden wings, the golden ear wings. I guess it's a much more angular look and a more of a longer head and swept back look. And the Tobot symbol, the new Tobot symbol, is kinda integrated right into his forehead crest. As if the T Tobot here right on his hood shelf wasn't obvious enough. These are nice gold metallic painted ears on the sand blue. Just give it color consistency and not quite as articulate as the original Tritan ears, their chrome gold ears. Yeah, but this is a nice update to the head sculpt. Articulation! A soft ratcheted head swivel, which is probably unnecessary. You probably want that to be a free swivel. There is a raised ridge to naturally stop the head movement. Arms go out that much with the pivot in torso. Soft ratcheted elbows at 90 degrees. And a bicep swivel, a transformational bicep swivel. Not sure if the fist is really useful here. And forward rotating shoulders. Yay for shoulders. Tritan finally gets some forward facing shoulders. Nice ratchety clicks all the way forward. Of course limited with the front grille plate here. At least it hinges out that much. Backward that much, almost all the way. Thanks to the clear kibble. Nice ratchety outwards. Nice thigh swivels. Nice ratchet at 90 degrees. If you wanted, you could untransform this to give him a super ab crunch. Rest assured, this new Tritan is much more articulated than the old Tritan was, because it has forward moving shoulders and better leg joints by virtue of modern ratchet leg construction, just all in one. Because if you remember, the old Tritan legs were two separate pieces that just clipped onto some very tight one-axis male hip joints that were so tight they gave you an extra tool that you could be easily lost because that thing doesn't even look like a toy. Okay, the legs might be a bit annoying because they might collapse easily because they're sliding joints. But you can hear that, right? I mean, they do click in very securely. I mean, I'm assuming they're spring-loaded nubs, so they won't wear out like, you know, just smaller sliding joints. Yeah, it's pretty loose when you're not clicking them in. Yeah, but they hold pretty well, so they just hold, but, you know, just don't press down on it too hard or else it kind of buckles, so that's a give and take, otherwise, but I guess it does maintain the integrity of the sculpted details. Okay, I kind of love this thing. It's what the fans have really wanted, you know, with the rebirth of the Tobots, we wanted the rebirth of Tritan. They skipped over Titan because that's really not necessary, I guess, in this case. Yeah, but I guess it's what you want from an update, like it just, even though it's stylistically changed a bit with the colors and layout, it's still the pretty familiar Tritan. 3 ordinary, everyday Hyundai cars that combine into one big robot, that's always a nice treat. And, you know, of course with the traditional, like, cars that only turn to combiner parts nature, it gives more dedication to give it just more articulation and such. Yeah, of course it's greatly improved articulation. And today's modern plastic and build and nice shininess and durableness compared to the original Tritans, you know, back when it was still using this sort of matte plastic, kind of scratchy, big. And of course, there's always a debate of whether you like the looks of the old Tritan or the new Tritan more. Because I guess maybe it's nostalgia talking when some say they prefer the old Tritan compared to the new Tritan design, which is also quite bigger. I mean, this new Tritan is a bit smaller than the old one. But in my opinion, I think this is a good solid update because as the aforementioned improvements and such. But this is a great centerpiece combiner and a great representative of what Tobot is. The real Tobot. Unless you're living in Korea, really this is the only most accessible version of Tritan because that original Tritan toy, 2011, pretty old. And even the international release of Tritan is pretty hard to come by these days. Unless you want to go for the mini Tritan version, which is not quite much of a Titan statement. So Tobot had a pretty great year with the return of the beloved Tobots and one whole season in 3 parts with 3 waves of toys and such. We'll have to see if this return to form actually turned a profit for Young Toys. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to what direction this classic Retrobot Tobot goes to. Of course, we really want to see the reintroduction of the classic Tobots, but also some new Tobot concepts and ideas that still fit in the universe and world building of the old Tobot. And Young Toys really spoiled us with special pack edition recolors of the Tobot toys released in the same year. So I would love to see Tritan redecoed and recolored into some non-canon cool colors. Probably not the same as the Tritan Shieldon colors, but in a similar vein. And of course, we're probably going to get some very plain, simplified, stickered version of mini new Tritan. Thank you, Tobot, for 13 years, and you're welcome for 6 years of toy reviewing with many more to come.